Hello, I'm Bernie Hayes. Today's guest is a lady of many talents, Cori Bush, mother, pastor, and so many other things. Registered nurse today, and she's a candidate for the 1st Congressional District of Missouri. Today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back. I'm Bernie Hayes. My guest is Cori Bush. Cori, how are you?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you.
Oh, you're looking great. You're looking terrific.
Thank you.
My goodness, you're running for the seat for the 1st Congressional District of Missouri.
Yes, I am, for the second time.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, so I'm running for this seat because, first of all, St. Louis, we can have so much more. And the only way that we'll get more is if we have somebody else in the seat that has a heart, that has the passion and the drive to be able to do this work. The time is now. I'm someone who it's not about a name or a title, not about fame. It's about making sure St. Louisans receive what we need and what we deserve.
Mm-hmm. This is not your first attempt at public service, but why did you choose public service in the first place?
So, I've been that way my entire life. I just didn't understand it. And my example has been my father. My father's been in politics for most of my life. And I remember growing up when my dad went into politics. And even before that, though, I would see my dad give his heart to the community.
Tell us who your dad is.
Yeah. Oh, his name is Earl Bush. He's alderman in Northwoods, in Normandy, Missouri. But I would see my father would literally, I'm trying to get to school in the morning, but my father would stop the car if he saw someone that he thought may have slept outside that night before, if he saw a child that was walking or an elder walking that he thought may need a ride. Like, that's who he was. He would take you to go get food. He would take you to where you were trying to go. He was that type of person. So that's been my example. Mm-hmm.
You're a registered nurse.
I am.
And we're in the middle of a pandemic, this COVID-19. But what's your vision for health care in the 1st Congressional District? So
I believe that health care is a human right. I believe because you breathe, you deserve health care. It should not, and I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this for about 4 years. People call me all kinds of names because I would say that Medicare for all is the way. I believe, but we're seeing right now with this pandemic, what that really means, because we've been saying that your health care should not be tied to your job status. And now we see why so many people have lost their health care. If we had a Medicare for all, that would not be the case. A Medicare for all would say that regardless of your socioeconomic status, your job status, any pre-existing conditions, your age, your gender, sexuality, any of that, regardless of all of that, you have health care, and it's actual care, not just some type of, pieces of health care. It's maternity services, it's reproductive health services, it's dental.
So many things I want to talk to you about because you have such a broad variety of issues that you can speak to.
Yes.
First of all, let's talk about your faith. You're a pastor. Yes. Tell the people about that.
Yeah, so currently I'm not pastoring my church anymore. I closed my church during the Ferguson uprising. But I started in ministry. I've been in the church my entire life, but I became a minister in 2005. I became a pastor in 2012 and started my church. And, it's all about servanthood. One thing that we did, so for me, being a pastor, for a couple hours a week, we would be inside those 4 walls, but the majority of our work was on the ground. We were working in human trafficking. We were working with the unhoused population. We would walk around St. Louis, just a group of us, and we would hand out food to people, but we were also connecting them right there on the spot to resources. What organization will help you with this situation that you're in? And so we just started that. Nobody knew who I was. I had, nobody knew, but it was just about serving the people directly. Like, people have to feel the change. It's not good enough to just say, I want to do this or I did that if people don't feel it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an action plan for the 1st Congressional District?
I absolutely do.
Tell me about it.
So we have all of these issues that I feel for so long have not been addressed that could have been addressed. So one, let's take an easy one. In August of 2014, Michael Brown was murdered. And then we ended up with this militarized force in our community. And actually, I lived 6 minutes from there at the time. But just a few months before that, in June of 2014, our current congressperson could have voted to demilitarize the police, but he didn't. That his experience and his expertise said that that was not the right thing, when we saw just a few months later that that's what should have happened. For me, I would have been someone different. I don't believe we need a militarized state, because we are not terrorists in our community. We are the people of this community, and we deserve dignity and respect. I believe that in order to address poverty in our community, in order to address crime in our communities, we have to address poverty head on. And what does that look like? It looks like a $15 an hour minimum federal wage, because people should have money to be able to pay their bills and also have money left over to save, take care of their families. And so $15 an hour minimum wage on top of eliminating all medical debt, eliminating student debt. We don't care if you went to school in 1976, 1982, or now. You deserve to have that completely wiped off, because we cannot address poverty for real without taking away all of this debt that we should be burdened under. Free public college, free trade schools for our students that want to go to college, that want to pick up a trade. They should be able to do that without the burden of can I pay for it, or not being able to go because they know that they can't pay for it. Instead, we make those Pell Grants for childcare, for transportation, for rent, for food. That's what that should be used for. All of those things will help address poverty. And then we know that women carry the most student debt in this country, over $929 billion. Women carry, but Black women carry the most student debt, and we carry it the longest. So in St. Louis, in order for us to really affect poverty, we have to make sure that we're removing that, and then dealing with wage inequality every day. Every woman should receive every dollar for the work that she for every hour, every dollar for every hour that she's earned, that she's worked.
You're qualified in so many areas. What drives your activism?
My faith. It's my faith, but it's remembering where I came from. So I'm someone who I'm a victim of crime. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I've lived unhoused with 2 babies, moving our vehicle around St. Louis, hoping that we wouldn't get stopped by a police officer. I was mixing formula in the McDonald's bathroom for my baby. I'm someone, I've been uninsured. So I've been in so many of these, so much of what we go through, I've lived it. And I don't want anybody else to have to live that if we can change it, and we can change it.
We're the New Life Evangelistic Center, Reverend Larry Rice, and
yes.
I understand that you are also an advocate for the homeless. Tell us about that.
Absolutely, because how dare we not speak up to help fix a situation if we have a platform to? If there's any way that we can help somebody else, if I have 2 pennies and somebody has none, it's up to me to make sure that I share that one. And because I'm someone who has been there. So let me say this. When I was unhoused with my 2 babies, I had a car. I had a vehicle. I didn't have a home, but I had a vehicle. So I would not go to New Life. I wouldn't go to any shelter, because I felt like we would be taking space from somebody who needs it, that doesn't at least have a car. I know what that's like. And so we have to fight for one another. I'm going to fight for every marginalized group. I'm going to fight for those that are oppressed differently than I am. So I fight for our immigrant community, because I'm not oppressed the way that they are. And that's who we have to be.
Cori Bush is my guest, and I'd like to come back in the next segment, Cory, and ask you about how a person can contribute to your campaign, how they can help you, volunteers and so forth. But there's so many things I want to talk to you about. And I feel your passion, see your passion, and hear your passion. But we're at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri, the New Life Evangelistic Center. We need, during this time of pandemic, your help and support for those who need more than we. Through Post Office Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, 63166. You can contribute through MasterCard, Visa, American Express, or Discover Card through www.newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. So many things that we need and we want to help persons with. Larry Rice has been here almost 50 years doing these wonderful things. So we'll be back with Cori Bush and talk about her campaign after this.
As year after year, dark clouds of hopelessness might have rolled across the horizon, I thank God for my friend Bernie Hayes, who's continued to have a message of hope, who's continued to address the issues, who's been a bright light in the midst of the darkness. What a blessing it is to know him and to see God's light and love flowing through him. But now you have an opportunity. So many hurting and homeless people are out in our community. Many, many more people are suffering after 1411 Locust was shut down. You can be that bright light if you'll simply call us at 314-421-3002 and get the petitions, circulate them among registered city voters, and help us get 1411 Locust open back up. We need to let God's light and love flow through us. These individuals are hurting at this particular time. Many of them are being brutalized by the system as a whole. They don't have cell phones to record times that they're misused and pushed from place to place by the police. So many of them don't have the smartphone that'll record that and the rest, so they suffer quietly. You can be their voice at this particular moment. You can remember the words of Jesus when he said, as often you've done to the least these, even so you've done it to me. Will you call 314-421-3020, help circulate these petitions among city voters so we can get the registered voters and get it on the ballot during the next mayoral election in the city of St. Louis. It can happen if the people of God, caring people right now in the darkness and hopelessness so many experience, will be that bright light. In memory of George Floyd and others that have suffered, will you move forth at this particular time? Again, give Mark a call at 314-421-3020. Get the petition, circulate among those that are in need, and know that you're making a big difference for good. Let's offer hope to the hopeless. Let's reach out and offer help to those that feel so helpless at this time. Let's give them a place of refuge that they can come to. Let's reopen 1411 Locust. Let the voters decide. Please get the petition now by calling 314-421-3020 and make a big difference for good.
And welcome back. I'm Bernie Hayes. My guest is Cori Bush. She's the candidate for the 1st Congressional District in Missouri. Cori, public safety, Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
There's been a lot of activity since George has been killed, and you were involved with the Larry Brown, so many different things in your community. Tell us about public safety and what you would do to change what's happening now.
Yeah, so we have to totally reimagine policing, totally reimagine it, because it's not serving us. And not only that, and it's not just about making sure that one particular area of the community is safe or feels safe. It's about making sure that all of us do. And so with that, I'm definitely somebody that's advocating for defunding the police. And when we talk about defunding the police, it doesn't mean the police won't be funded at all. Mm-hmm. It means that the police won't be overfunded to where the police can buy tear gas. The police can buy, rubber bullets and all of those things, stack SWAT gear and all of that. When, in fact, we need more money in human services because we have our unhoused populations that don't have their needs met. So we need to put more money there. We need to put more money in health and hospitals because look at what just happened. We had a pandemic that we weren't prepared for. We didn't have enough masks. North City could not get COVID-19 testing, as fast as we needed it. So we have to re-envision how this thing is set up. And it comes with a lot of accountability. It comes with making sure that, so when we talk about, people are saying, we need to make sure that we can do, we ban chokeholds and all of that. We should not be. Why are we talking about murder tactics? This is a murder method. We need to ban these murder methods. No, that murder should not even be a part of the equation. We don't need our police officers to be medical health counselors. We don't need them to be, educators and all of that. That should not be their job. So police officers should be police officers. I'm a nurse. I should be a nurse. That's what I envision. Also, Community policing has to change. The look of that has to change. We have to also fight against these debtors' prisons. We have to close our workhouse. We have to close the workhouse. These are some of the things that will directly affect our community, because we cannot say that we are for the community if we continue to allow things that tear our communities apart, to continue. We cannot, when the workhouse has 90% of the people in the workhouse are poor, Black from North City, that does not serve us. We have to do better.
The George Floyd murder, how did that personally impact you? And do you embrace the movement of Black Lives Matter or a parallel movement to that?
Absolutely, yes. So the Ferguson uprising, just being so deeply involved in that uprising, being able to lead protests and marches and so many things during that time. I've traveled the country. I've done things internationally. I'm an international speaker on nonviolence. And I just being a part of that whole thing, we saw the world start to change. But we didn't get everything that we needed because we had legislators that weren't pushing for us, that would not use the pen that they have to affect this real change. But now what we're seeing is so many people are stepping up. Yes, I am a part of this movement. I believe that Black Lives Matter, and we have to say it and stay in people's faces. And that's what happened. That's why right now so many people that wouldn't say it before are saying it. That's why these corporations are saying it. They understand that now something has to happen. Even if it's about the dollar, even if it's about the almighty black dollar, they are saying it, and change is happening. So I'm standing with this. And this is the thing. It affected me because we weren't done with when Michael Brown was murdered, when Antonio Martin, when Von Derek Myers and so many other, Kajimi Powell, we weren't done. We didn't get enough done at that time. So now we're seeing all of that labor. We're seeing the effects of it and how a foundation was laid for us to be able to move forward.
Mm-hmm. You're very quite an activist. There's so much that I could ask you about, but your dad is a wonderful person, and he's been in public service so many years. Yes. But you had a choice not to do this. You had a choice to be a nurse.
Yes.
Be a pastor full time. But yet that you chose to make these differences.
Yes.
These differences. I mean, I want to know from deep down in your heart why.
Yeah. So I always said I would never be a politician. I would never run for office because of what I saw my dad go through. Such a good heart that was just so mistreated. But when Michael Brown was murdered, and I saw over and over again how I'm watching regular everyday people that weren't doing anything wrong, beaten, hung upside down, hogtied, hanging off of batons, tear gas and rubber bullets, dogs, all of this happening in our communities. And it was not stopped by who I believe are congressperson, because they claim to have all of these relationships, to come in and say, no, you won't do this to my people. No, you won't drop this in my community. But that didn't happen. And so, but I'm watching these people giving their lives. People gave their livelihoods for change. And so when I was asked to run for office by someone who is an activist who has since been murdered. And at first I said no, but the more I said no, this yes rose up on the inside of me, and I knew I needed to run. The only way to get that change, the heart of the community, that type of change that we want to see, the only way to get it there is for people like us to run.
How can they help you, Cory? How can they reach you? How can they contribute to your campaign? How can they volunteer for your services? Tell us how.
So we have a website. Mm-hmm. Our website is CoriBush.org, CoriBush.org. I am the good Bush. And you can also text. So we have a phone number, 314-370-2929. If you text the word volunteer to that phone number, you'll get a link to sign up to volunteer. If you text donate to that number, you'll get the link to donate. If you text Cory, Cori, to that number, that will tell us that you support us. 314-370-2929.
How about voting? When is the voting deadline, and how will voting help you?
Voting will help. So right now, absentee ballots have already dropped. Okay. We will be, so people can right now, as soon as they get their ballots, they can go ahead and start sending those in. Absentee ballots have to be received by August 4th, the day of the election. You have until July the 8th to register to vote. and you have until July the 22nd to request your ballot to vote absentee. Right now, we're working to make sure that everybody can vote without it being absentee, without it being notarized, but we're not there yet. So if you're 65 and older, you automatically get a ballot, and you can go ahead and vote absentee that way. But if you're not, then there are some provisions that have to be in place. Otherwise, you can show up on August 4th.
If they called you, would you take people to register to vote or to vote itself?
Yes, absolutely. We have a program that we'll be rolling out where we will be making sure that people have a ride to the polls. It's a well-laid plan. We'll be making sure people are able to get there. And if people need to register to vote, you can go to our website, CoriBush.com, CoriBush.org, and there's a place where you can sign up to register to vote.
So you actually can do it on your website?
On my website.
Okay. Cori Bush is my guest. We're going to come back and ask you some other things in the next segment. In the meantime, I'd like to remind the people that we're at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri, 63166, Post Office Box 473. If you'd like to send a donation to us, it's all tax deductible, but we need that help and support. Reverend Larry Rice, almost 50 years, I've been supporting those, the homeless, the shelters, paying electricity bills, public service things, and just so much. And I seem like I'm stammering now because I want to include everything that he's done, but it's impossible to do it in these few minutes. But we'll be back with Cori Bush. She'll help us after this.
The Bernie Hayes program is produced at NLEC TV right here at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. It's our new headquarters since they closed the 1411 Locust building. We're working to get back into that building. In addition to that, trying to help so many people through a wide variety of safe houses, training programs, transportation assistance, so many ways people are getting help because of all of you that are supporting the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. Now, if you'll send a gift of $25 or more, we want to send you this special, the Bernie Hayes Show cup. And we're giving that to people as just a way of saying thank you. So when you send your gift, request a cup. We'll be happy to get it off to you. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. You can give online at nlecstl.org. Now I'm really asking all of you to join us in praying. The needs are so phenomenal at this particular time. So many hurting and homeless people are contacting us daily, but we're able to help them because of each one of you that are praying, caring, and sharing at this time. Tell your families and friends about NLEC TV and get directly involved yourself.
We'll return to our guests after this Black History Moment. We're talking about Ira Aldrich, one of the most celebrated Shakespearean actors of the 19th century. Born in New York, Aldrich achieved his greatest fame in Europe, where he found professional opportunities that did not exist for black actors in the United States. In 1857, Aldrich at the Theatre Royal in Newcastle, England, performed 3 roles from his extensive repertoire: Othello, Shylock from the Merchant of Venice, and Gambia in The Slave. In the early 1820s, Aldrich performed in New York with the William Brown African Theater, the first African-American theater company in America. He then journeyed to England, where in 1833, he became the first black actor to portray Othello on the London stage. Aldrich spent the rest of his life touring Great Britain, Europe, and Russia, and became a British citizen in 1863. He used his position on the stage to speak out against slavery and advocate for racial equality. Ira Aldrich.
Hello, I'm Larry Rice. Let me write you a creation prescription at this particular time. A prescription for healing, a prescription for hope. And that prescription is spending 30 minutes to an hour outside, experiencing God's wonderful creation. Job, in the middle of all of his affliction, let down by family and friends, when taken and beholding God's wonderful creation, experienced a healing in his soul. Read it yourself in Job chapter 39 through 41. Till finally Job declared, before I heard about you, but now I really see you, God, experience you in a new and powerful way. Paul speaks of how Christ holds all things together in Colossians chapter 1, starting at verse 15. Get up now, go outside, spend some time in creation, experience God's healing power in your spirit. Let him lift that high blood pressure and heal you from that stress and that anxiety as you take this creation prescription and move in the wonders of all of God's great creation.
And welcome back. My guest is Cori Bush. She's a candidate for the 1st Congressional District in Missouri. And this is not your first time attempting this move, Cori. What inspires you to do it?
Yeah.
You weren't discouraged last time. So tell us about this time.
Yeah, no. So I have to save my son's life. I have to save my daughter's life. I have to help do what I can to save the lives of others. Because this is when I think about if something was to happen to one of my children or someone else's child that I know or loved one, and I knew that I could have done something about it. I could have used my voice or my feet or my hands and put that work to it, to try to stop it. And I didn't, I can't live with that. And even though I was disappointed the last time when I lost, I didn't think that I would run again. But when I saw my team, let me just say, my team at the watch party, when I found out I lost, I couldn't find my team. But I looked to the right and I saw they were in a huddle at the watch party already organizing the next race. When I realized that as a victim of sexual assault, I went through so much after that, but people still weren't speaking to help victims like us through the things that we were going through. And I realized that the only way we'll keep pushing this forward is to continue to run, because our congressperson has not, will not. We've seen it for 20 years. We've seen the best and the most of what he chooses to do, and it's not enough. So here I am again. It's about the mission.
Are you available to speak to different people?
Absolutely.
Tell us how to reach out in that way. How can we reach you?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
How can we reach you in that way for speaking engagements?
Oh, yes. On my website, CoriBush.org, there is a space where you can, well, actually, you know what? You can just go to press at CoriBush.org or go to info@CoriBush.org, and you can catch us that way.
Street signs, yard signs, different memorabilia, literature to help you in your campaign. Do you have any of that?
Yes. So we have yard signs that are available. If you text the word sign, SIGN, to 314-370-2929, we'll get you connected with the yard sign. We have the big signs, the 4x4s, the 4x8s. We have it all. We'll even have billboards coming real soon.
Although we mentioned many, many things that you like to do, but is there one priority that you have for the 1st Congressional District?
Absolutely, equity. And it will start with reinvesting in public education, but reinvesting in public education with the money that was taken from public education and put into our private prison system. We have to go back and grab that money and shut those private prisons down and put that back into our communities. Our children deserve it.
Healthcare, once again, tell us about your vision for healthcare.
Yes, a Medicare for all, which means every single person will have access to healthcare, will have actual healthcare, and nobody will have to make the decision anymore between rent and making sure that they have their medications. No more of my patients will die because they don't have healthcare.
Are you a product of St. Louis Public Schools or area schools?
St. Louis area schools, actually, yes. I went to Cardinal Ritter for high school.
Okay.
And that was an experience in itself as an all-Black college prep high school. But when I went to school, we had bars on our windows and doors. We had graffiti everywhere. Sometimes I would sit in class and gunshots would ring out. But you know what? We pressed right on through that, and to make sure that we got our education. But we have to do better for our children.
Well, Cory, between you and your father and your campaign, I'm quite sure you'll be successful. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you very much.
Once again, tell them how to reach Cory Bush.
Yes, CoriBush.org.
That was a little fast. Slow it down.
Okay. It's our website, CoriBush.org.
Okay. Phone number?
314-492-8386.
I want to say thank you so very, very much for visiting with us. Best of luck to you and your family. And I sincerely hope that some of your visions will come true. In fact, I hope all of your visions will come true. Thank you so much for all that you've done, so much for all that you're going to do.
Thank you, and you as well.
If you ever have a chance again, please come visit us here at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Cory Bush, all the best. So hello to the family for me. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.